Product Talk. I am Matt Cromwell from Stellar WP.
And I'm Amber Hines from Equalize Digital.
And today we're talking about switching from the idea of product videos to process videos. This is WP Product Talk, a place where every week we bring you insights of product marketing, business management and growth, customer experience, product development, and more. It's your go-to podcast for WordPress product owners by WordPress product owners. And now, enjoy the show.
So everyone has heard of product videos. They showcase your product, but what we're going to be talking about today is whether or not that is the most effective way to get people interested in what you're selling, and if there is a different type of video you should be making. So our guest today, I am going to pop him on and invite him in, is Kevin Geary. And Kevin is going to be sharing more thoughts with us about process videos. Welcome, Kevin.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, man. Tell the world a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I've been in the web design space for a very long time. Started building websites when I was 12 or so, and started using WordPress in 2005-ish. And started out blogging, started out doing the traditional stuff that WordPress was for, and long journey of learning and education, eventually getting into the agency and freelancer space, doing work for other businesses. And what I do today is I build software products and I educate other web designers and agency owners as much as I can, sharing best practices and stuff that I've learned over the years and stuff that we're working on and thinking about going forward into the future. But Automatic CSS is my main product. We have a sister product called Frames, and then I have an inner circle full of agency owners and freelancers. So that's kind of my my three-wheeled ecosystem as we speak.
Awesome. Cool. Well, if you are here listening in on YouTube, then feel free to use the chat area. We love to answer your questions live. And feel free to ask us on Twitter. We're kind of paying attention over there. I'm never going to get used to calling it something other than Twitter. But
it's going to be Twitter forever.
If you ping us somewhere, we will probably figure it out and try to answer it live and throw Kevin under the bus and see what he says. So cool. Well, we always kick off first by just talking about like why we think the subject is so important and introducing our audience specifically to the subject. So right before we kicked off, Kevin, I asked you real quick, like elevator pitch. What is a process video?
Yeah. So, well, let's start with what a product video is. I guess everybody knows, right? Typical, you are interested in a specific piece of software, and so the person who creates the software, or their marketing person, whatever, is going to jump into the software and they're going to show you all of the features of the software. And sometimes they're very flashy videos, sometimes they're more organic videos. And then over time, if you let's go to the YouTube channel of a random piece of software, typically what you're going to find is these update videos. Every time there's like a new feature, hey, let's look at all of the new features that are in our software and look at this feature and that feature, maybe a little bit about why that feature is important. But that's basically their video marketing approach. And of course, I think that's important. I don't think you shouldn't do that. But I do think it's important to go above and beyond, especially in an industry like ours, where the tools are very technical. A lot of times the work that we do is very technical. There's a lot to think about, a lot to remember. The industry is very fast paced, right? And people are in a constant mode of learning and trying to get better. And so there's a lot of things that product owners, obviously you build a product to solve a problem, and the problem you solve is a piece of a larger problem. And what I've done, the approach that I've taken that's been very, very successful and that people say makes the difference, it like makes or breaks, their decision to go with my product over competitors, for example, is that I take an approach of, I know the problems everybody is trying to solve, and I'm going to try to do my best to help them solve all of those problems. And that's what my content is focused on. Now, I happen to use my tools while I do that. But the main focus is, let's help everybody get to the next level, get another step ahead of the game and solve more challenges. And I just happen to be using my products while I do that. And what that demonstrates is how the products that I created actually solve some of these problems, make workflow more efficient, make life easier for people. And what typically happens is people come for the education, right? They don't, because nobody really is attracted to a product video. They're like, this is marketing. This is, of course, you're going to tell me this is fantastic and every feature
I don't
is
need to hear
amazing, right? So, nobody really flocks to a channel for that. That's why you see, product channels. And I have split channels. I have 2 different channels that I do this on. Yeah, people do flock to education. They do flock to value. They want to be a part of that. And so many more people are going to see your content. Many more people are then going to see your tools, and life is better for everybody. I mean, this is fantastic, right? It's like marketing that actually benefits the end user.
Yep, absolutely. Nice. What would you say in general for like a brand new product owner? Why is it so important for them to be intentional and thoughtful about this from the get-go?
Like I said a second ago, I think it makes the difference. If we look at page builders as an example, and I like to, I know it's not in the WP space, but I like to use Webflow as an example because they've done a tremendous job at this. Where if you look at page builders like Bricks and Oxygen and some of the more technical page builders, fantastic developers, fantastic features, good product videos, but nothing about how to really use the tool in a real workflow environment and best practices and things like that. You look at Webflow as a counter, very technical tool, right? And it requires education to use. They've invested millions of dollars into here's how to use our tool, but also here's how to be a better web designer, right? And so you can learn a lot by watching Webflow videos. And thus, they have a 4 billion evaluation where, I even think that, like Wix and Squarespace will say, hey, like anybody can use our tool. But still, I think a lot of people flock to the Webflow ecosystem because they know they can get the real education there. More serious people go to Webflow. Yeah. And, people tell me all the time, because I make a ton of videos with Bricks. That's my primary builder. And so lots and lots of people are adopting Bricks as their builder. And they tell me all the time, the difference is I know that I can get education with using Bricks, where these other builders, there's just not a lot of education around it. So it helps. It really does help people make the decision.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I think there really is a difference here that you're highlighting, right? Going back to that, don't just talk about features, but the benefits or the why the feature exists. And I think that like fitting it in the workflow, I see what you're saying about how that works from like if you're targeting freelancers or agency owners, but do you see a difference in how these videos might work for a site owner or someone who's not, they're purchasing a product to use on their site, but they don't really have a workflow? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, that's the thing too, is so we do have a lot of website owners that use automatic CSS. Like it's not really built for just a single site owner, but single site owners who want to work on their website have watched my videos and learn, and they're gaining more knowledge and insight about how to actually work on their website, right? And they see how this tool can help them. And it's not a huge investment, right? So it's easy for them to pick up and say, yeah, I'm gonna integrate this, and I'm gonna follow this guy's advice and his workflow, and I'm gonna use that to make my own website situation better. So I think it does end up reaching people you didn't even intend to reach in the first place. I'm not targeting individual website owners, but we have lots of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Amber, what about you? What would you say is really important for product owners to be thinking about when it comes to this subject?
Yeah, I think, this is something that we've been having some conversations about internally in our own, which I'll share more when we kind of get to story time. But I do think just in general, like figuring out what that framework of the benefits of the product is, right? Like why different features exist and how they can be used in different use cases for different buyer personas. So I think like planning this out is probably something that a lot of us, we build things. Sometimes we're scratching our own itch, or we're responding to things certain customers have told us, and we say, okay, yeah, we can build that, but we maybe haven't even really thought about like what the broader impact of that feature is within the customer experience. And so spending time thinking about that is really important just in general. And I think if you set out with the goal of creating process instead of just product demo videos, that might make you start thinking about, you know, that impact in a way that we probably don't always think about. And so I don't know, like that was the thing when we were talking about this topic coming up, like I was thinking, why is this important? But I think like just having the goal of creating more process driven videos will make you think more about your business in general and your product and how it fits in the marketplace.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think the pain point that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, one of the pain points I think you're highlighting is that I've seen a lot of product videos that are like feature A, feature B, feature C,
Yes.
buy now. And it's like, oh, you got some features. That's cool.
Yes.
Like, but I mean, what does that mean? And why do I care? And how do we get from that, like, just like I'm a developer, I built something, and I think about it in terms of features, and so my video is all about features, and start thinking more instead about like, what does the customer want out of their out of your product. One way I've heard some people describe this is like making the customer the hero of the story, instead of the product. Don't make the product the hero. Make the customer the hero of the story, and that your product is like the bridge that helps them get there. Like they are going on this journey and they're going to go here, but you're just the bridge to help them get from point A to point B that they couldn't have done without you. But they're the ones who are having the success. And if you approach it with that mentality and mindset, you start to talk about your product in totally different ways. I mean, with Give, of course, we love to talk about recurring donations. We like to talk about PDF receipts and custom fields and all those kinds of fun features.
Yeah, but it's like, what does
like
what
they're
does a custom
fundraisers.
field mean to an average nonprofit website donation manager or something, right?
Yeah.
I think custom fields is a good example. You know, like if you there's obviously in copywriting, the big mistake in copywriting is just to list all of the features, and then the next step of copywriting is give a benefit for each one of those features. But then I think that's where people stop. And if you communicate the benefits, that's really good. That's fantastic. But people still have to have faith in a way that you're telling them the right thing, right? Or that they have completely wrapped their head around that benefit. So if you take it to the next level of let me actually demonstrate a real world workflow, that they actually get to see it in action. And then when they see it in action, for a lot more people, it'll start to click for them even more. Right. And so there's also, like I mentioned earlier, there's many more things people want to know beyond just what your tool does and the benefit. And so if you're trying to get somebody interested in custom fields, for example, you can explain, okay, we make it super easy to add these custom fields. That's like features. And then the custom fields are important because they allow you to map this data to like from the back end to the front end, and it helps maintainability and scalability and all of this stuff. So that's like the benefits of it. But a lot of people still couldn't wrap their head around that until you pull up a video and you say, watch me, I'm going to build this landing page right here, and I'm going to create these custom fields for this use case, and I'm going to map them here, and you're going to watch me do this entire process. And then we're going to see, I'm going to also show you, by the way, I'm going to do the same thing, but without custom fields. And then we're going to talk about the maintainable. And now they're seeing like two different realities side by side. And they've learned other things in the process. Like you did a few things with CSS that they didn't know. You did a few things with the page builder that they didn't know. And they're getting all of these like little golden nuggets along the way. You're just teaching. That's all you're doing is teaching. But you happen to be showing them custom fields, which is maybe the tool that you built. So they're super interested in it. They're super engaged in it. It's making a lot of connections in their brain for things that they didn't have connections for earlier. It's just really, really, really good. Other than like, hey, let me show you this product I created.
You're reminding me of do you watch much of Jamie Marsland's videos?
Yep. Yep.
I think he does a great job of doing this, and he's basically like, I feel like an evangelist for Gutenberg in so many ways, because one of the things he did quite a bit a while back was to basically take a famous homepage and be like, can I build this famous homepage with Gutenberg blocks only? And then he just goes through the process of how he does that. I always learned a ton about just Gutenberg blocks and options that I never thought about just by watching his videos. Am
Yeah,
I touching? Is that about kind of what you're saying?
It's a good concept because it's you're taking something real world that exists and then showing the process of creating that. That's very interesting to a lot of people for sure. And it's much more entertaining than like, let me just like, I thought back to when I was learning a lot of this stuff, or even new stuff that I want to learn, like getting more involved in JavaScript and stuff like that. And you go maybe watch people's courses and it's always like, let me show you this lesson, but they've completely disconnected it from the real world. Like the outcome we're trying to achieve, I don't care about in the slightest, and so it's very hard to learn in that environment. So immediately, if you connect this stuff to like, hey, let me go build Taylor Swift's website, right, in bricks with automatic CSS. And like now, it's like you're really bridging the gap to reality, and doing it in an entertaining way. And that's going to engage people much more than let me just show you bricks, right? Let me show you all the controls in bricks. Let me show, it's the traditional product video approach just doesn't do a great job of engaging. Other than it will engage the people who are like super interested, who maybe somebody told them about the product. I don't know where they came from, but they're like on the fence. So they want to watch some product videos and just maybe get them over. But anybody else that doesn't really know about the product yet, doesn't even understand the concepts around the product, these people are not going to come watch product videos. They're just not. So you're missing out on a gigantic part of an audience that would be buyers, but because you're not engaging them in the right way, you're not going to get in front of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it would be interesting to transition in a minute to story time where we talk about some of our personal experiences, but I want to sort of like take a slight tangent here on what you're talking about. So if we're assuming people are on YouTube and they're surfing around, right? This is who we're talking about. People who haven't heard the product. Like, I think there's a big importance about the first couple seconds or minute of the video. And I'm curious if you have thoughts. Maybe Kevin, you can share them, and then I can bounce this over to you, Matt, because I know you all do some video marketing, and so you could sort of transition us into story time with your experience. But what do you think in that first minute is really important to get out there so people understand that this is more of the process video and not just another video where I'm going to be like, and this is a settings page and you can turn this on, right? Like what needs to happen in those first 30 seconds so that people stay?
Yeah. So I think telling them exactly what they're going to get out of the video, like as soon as you possibly can. Like my videos, typically I turn on the camera and I immediately just talk about what we're going to learn that day. Right. I don't even introduce myself anymore. Like I don't say what this channel is for. I don't tell people to subscribe. I don't care about any of that stuff. I tell them, here's what we're going to do today in this video. And a lot of times, some of the time it's, it takes extra work and people have requested it, but they want to see the finished thing that we're going to build before we actually build it. So what I've been testing out as of late, like the last video that I did, I showed them exactly what we're going to build and how it works. And then I was like, okay, now let's get started and do it from scratch. So I do think that's important so that they can know right away what to expect and what they're going to get out of it. But I also think it's a culture of the channel. So you want to build this culture of people come to our channel for value, not for our product. They come here for all of the other value that we can provide. So anybody who's been to your channel before, when they see a new video pop up, they're expecting education. They're expecting value. They're not expecting it to just be a product video. So you don't even have to worry about them discounting it as maybe another product video, because the culture that you've built around your channel is you come here to learn, you come here to get value. and the product just happens to be involved in these videos that you're going to be watching.
Yeah, I love it. I think that's great. Really good advice. I mean, that's a combination of really great YouTube advice for one, because
Yeah.
YouTube now is just a whole thing all by itself, and really good product video advice as well. I mean, today was our first time doing a new introduction here for WP Product Talk, and we do introduce ourselves, and we do have this little long video, and we actually went back and forth about whether or not we even like the way we're doing this. We're just testing it out, but previously we started off with like 30 seconds of silence, because we were waiting for live viewers to show up, and I was like, this is not the good way to start a YouTube video.
Yeah.
And so this new format was trying to be a little bit more YouTube friendly. But one of the things that I was really impressed with when thinking through this new format is, like, I really love Mark Rober. I don't know if anybody knows Mark Rober.
I don't think so.
He's the ex NASA engineer who does all these crazy. He did this giant elephant toothpaste experiment. He has this giant Nerf gun that he created. Like, he takes NASA engineering to this fun, ridiculous level. Anyway, he has these amazing videos. He has this one where he's like, I'm doing the biggest egg drop from space ever. And it says biggest egg drop from space ever is the title of the video. And when he opens it up, he says, this is space and this is an egg, and I'm going to drop it from the highest height ever. And I'm like, that's what I came here for.
Yeah,
and he gave it to me in like the first 5 seconds. And now I'm going to watch it for the next 25 minutes because he set my expectations. So I think that's a really good point. On the give
and we all
side,
want to
story
know
time.
if an egg actually drops from space or if it just hangs there.
No spoilers. No spoilers. You got to watch
Okay,
it.
go
It's so
find
good.
it.
He's
So,
such
yeah,
a great,
so
he's such a great
so
one.
tell us, Matt, about how you all have handled video marketing and whether or not you are doing the process rather than the product videos.
I will tell you that video marketing has been the hardest thing for our team. I think video marketing is really challenging. So if you have the luxury of knowing somebody who really does really great video, like, I wish Katie was here. She actually hired a marketer on her team specifically to do YouTube videos because he's really good at them. And I would recommend that because they're challenging. It's hard to think through. It's hard to know exactly what's successful and what's not. And we've had a lot of pains and struggles over the years. Our very, very, very first Give video that we launched in 2015 was really successful. It told a story. We had like this voiceover and everything. And it was just highlighting all the pain points of, at that time, how there wasn't really any good dedicated donation plugins in the WordPress space. It was like, you can hack WooCommerce or you can like deal with form plugins, but what you really want is a donation platform. So and I felt like it did a decent job at the time. But then we were like, but a modern audience, we made what I call tongue-in-cheek our shock rock video, which is still, if you go to WordPress.org to our plugin page, it's the first video on there, and it's like the loud, like, rock ballad music, and like feature, blam, it gives them. And I'm like, that's definitely a product video, not a process video. It's like, I feel like some of the things that we were more successful with, I don't think we sought out to do what Kevin's really describing here. We did it maybe accidentally. So we have this whole section of our site called Getting Started, that is a video series. And it's like getting started with Give WP, getting started with WordPress, getting started with Give add-ons. And we just talk about, like, you want to start accepting donations on your website. How do you do that? And we just walk through the process of what that looks like, from a simple WordPress website to now I'm raising money on my website. And those videos honestly get a lot of engagement and a lot of feedback, more so than a lot of other ones that we have done. So now if I were to try to take like the the really flashy, fun ideas of the shock rock video, and then apply that to the getting started video, that almost sounds like the perfect video that Kevin's describing here. I think, it doesn't have to be loud and shock rocky, but the loud shock rocky one is like polished, it's more polished and modern and things like that. But across the board, even on the other Stellar brands as well, as we continue to try to leverage YouTube as like the second largest search engine there is right now, nailing the right kind of videos has been super challenging. So I do want to make that really clear that I think video is incredibly important, and but it's also really hard. It's a challenging thing, especially for small teams.
And another thing you can think about is completely outside of the obvious, right? So if we think about, with a donation plugin, for example, yes, people want to get donations on their website, but really what they want to do is just get donations in general most of the time, right? However I can fundraise, that's how I can do it. Now in the online space, like let's say you created a video concept of, here's how to, if your organization doesn't yet have a lead magnet of some sort on your website, here's how to create one. Here's how to link it to an email autoresponder. Here's a formula for writing a 3, 4, 5 day email sequence. And maybe you've used this email sequence, you've tested it to use it to get more donations. So people come to the website, you're able to get more people on your email list through this lead magnet. You show them how to set all that technical stuff up because they probably don't know how to do it. And then guess what? How do we actually, at the end of the day, from that email sequence, collect those donations? Your product. And so they just see that as part of that funnel that you just showed them how to build and how to extract more fundraising from their website, which they're thinking in their mind, thank you, we haven't done this yet. We haven't set it up. We're not getting that traffic. We're not going to be getting those donations. You showed me how to do it. And when I watched you do it, your product made that look very easy. So I'm going to go ahead and get that too. It's that kind of thing.
It reminds me also of it wasn't a video. It was a blog post that we did way back in the day when we had a different product called Quick Checkout. It was the precursor to GiveWP. And our highest performing blog post at the time was how to create a one-page checkout for your WooCommerce product. That was what it was. And it was a tutorial on how to do that. And then it's like, you could do all of these steps, or you could just buy our product. And it will do it for you, essentially. And that was our highest performing page that we had, because we showed that the product is exactly what they wanted, what they came to that page for in the first place. Yeah. Absolutely. What were you saying, Amber?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I think on that line, I think there's definitely something to be said for putting more effort into talking about other pain points that your customers have, that your product can be connected to or can solve in some way, but isn't like directly related to, if that makes sense, right? Like Kevin's talking about, well, great, you have Give all set up, but if no one comes to your website, it doesn't really solve your problem, right? So almost thinking about what are these other problems that customers have that have to be solved in order for your product to even matter, for them to keep paying for your product, because otherwise they'll be like. So on our end, we have done, and we're starting to like figure out and get more on that thing. So with Accessibility Checker, one of the problems with it is, and I'll totally say problems, right? Is that it flags accessibility problems, but if you don't know how to fix them,
right,
what do you do, right? And so that's
hire Equalized Digital. So
yes, you can hire the service arm of our company. But that said, like, we have been putting out more content that is just about explaining accessibility problems and what they are and what to do. If maybe it's go submit a support ticket with the plugin that's causing the problem, or maybe it's writing JavaScript to patch it, or adding a template file in your theme, right? Depending upon choose their own adventure on what skill level the user is that we're talking to. But I think like that's something that we've realized with our own, because if people just find the problems, but then they don't know what to do next, it's not going to keep them using our product. And so that's sort of the way we've been approaching it. I think one of the challenges that I've had, and I am continuing to work on this, and we have a lot more video also in our queue for 2024 and our goals, but I frequently want to explain everything and figuring out like, how do I drill down and get at like the really high level, or just say maybe it needs to be a series of videos that are like 5 to 10 minutes long. Otherwise, my videos, if I were to create a video, they'd all be like 2 hours long.
Yeah.
So that's funny you say that, because my videos are all like an hour minimum. And
Okay.
and so
and people watch until the end.
Yeah,
it's an interesting subject too. Just how long, because I feel like people's tolerance for length of videos is growing.
And I do first of all, I do a live stream every Wednesday. It's called WDD Live. It's web design for dummies, not dummies. Like we talk about the DOM and a bunch of other stuff and technical stuff. We talk about everything that makes a website successful. And that's a 2-hour live stream every Wednesday. And people, they stay for, the vast majority of them stay for the entire thing. We try to make it as entertaining as possible, and obviously as much value as possible as well. We do a Q&A and AMA during that, and that's been very successful. But all my tutorial videos are, 45 minutes, 30 minutes would be short. 45 minutes would be, 45 to an hour would probably be my target. But then, like Amber said, it's like once you get going, man, there's so much more stuff to talk about. And so some videos become an hour and a half long. And I don't edit my videos. I don't literally, I just record the tutorial and maybe a minor edit here or there, but then send it. Right. And what I will tell you is that there are always going to be people who complain about the length. There will be
either direction, probably, right?
Yeah. And people will, and they claim that you talk too much. Okay. And then the flip side is the other, more than half will say, no, I love that he talks too much because he's giving me context that's important and that I didn't know before. And what I hear all the time is he explains the why behind doing it. It's not just, let me show you how to do this. It's like, here's why we do this way. And that's the value that people now come for. Like they want the in-depth stuff. They don't want the surface level stuff. So you can build a much more engaged audience if you don't worry about the time limit, worry about the quality and the value, and that's going to take care of itself.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good stuff. Nice. Well, you have been sharing a bit of your own story time throughout the whole time, Kevin. But I'd love to just hear even more, actually. So tell us a little bit more, just specifically about some of your most popular or most successful videos that you've done on either side, in terms of either the live stuff or maybe specifically with automatic CSS or frames. What are some of the most recent successes you've had there?
So I just finished an entire series. I know Amber was talking about potentially doing a series. I would highly recommend it. It's a lot of work. And it's tough, but it's definitely worth it. My series was called Page Building 101. And the concept was, I'm going to teach you the fundamentals of front end development using page builders in WordPress specifically. We're going to start out comparing how the different page builders do things and what they output and why that matters. And then we're going to move into all of the actual fundamentals that you need to know. The goal is if you're a beginner or you're an intermediate, by the end of this course, you're going to know more than 95% of people that are doing front-end development and page builders. And it ended up being 19, 20 episodes. Like I said, each one's an hour or more long typically. So it's 20 plus hours of free content. And it demonstrates bricks really well. Tons of people have purchased. They don't even have an affiliate program, right? And that doesn't matter. And I think that helps build trust, because people realize, he could be promoting a page builder that has a really lucrative affiliate program,
Mhm.
but his primary builder is bricks because of real reasons. And it doesn't, he gets no financial benefit from that. But it also happens to show people how automatic CSS fits into a workflow like this, how frames can fit into a workflow like this. So they get a tremendous amount of value. They learn about the tools during this course. And it's just been fantastic all around. I mean, the feedback on it, the amount of comments on it, and it's something that I love pointing people to, and that now others are pointing people to. Anytime somebody asks like a basics question in Bricks or Oxygen's group or wherever, people are like, just go watch PB 101, just go watch PB 101. And so, you know, it promotes itself more or less. And you know, the early decision was, do I make it free or do I try to make a paid course? And to me, it was like, I'm going to win either way, because, you know, if I sell it, people are going to buy it. I have the audience for that. But if I make it free, people are going to end up using automatic CSS and frames. And so to me, it was what's going to help the most amount of people and get the most amount of eyeballs on it and help people level up. And that was just, let's make it free on YouTube and build it as we go. And people can be involved in that process. That's what we did. And it was very, very, very successful.
I love it. This is great. I really appreciate the perspective and hearing about this, because like I said, we struggle, man. I mean, like a lot of folks look at Give WP, and we do have a lot of video and we do have a lot of marketing, and it's very robust. I've talked with a lot of product folks over the years who talk to me as if like I have all the marketing stuff put together. Man, but video is hard.
It is.
And
we're our own worst critic.
Yeah,
so, you know,
well,
that too.
you had to
That
give
too.
yourself a little bit of slack.
Yeah.
the process, the getting it done, even like it's we've actually like thrown away videos that took 2 months.
Oh
and
yeah.
it just is like,
Oh yeah.
oh
Yeah.
gosh.
There's a lot that people don't see for sure on the back end. You know, there's a lot of starting and stopping sometimes. Like the hardest part for me, you know, I can turn on the camera and just, if I'm teaching something, I'm good to go. But like introducing the topic, because I don't write a script for the introduction or anything. I just turn on, I just try to talk to the camera, and I'm like, no, I don't want to say it that way. No, I don't. And then like Amber was talking about, you know, my brain is like very detail oriented. So I will literally just keep going off on tangents, tangent after tangent after tangent in the introduction. I'm like, we haven't even gotten to learning anything yet. And so it's making it concise is like the hardest part. And so I'll record an introduction like 20 times, and then I do the training in one take, but the introduction takes like 20 takes. The first hour is just me trying to do the introduction. That happens often.
You know, like now that we're at 0.5, we should start off on our actual subject.
You know, I think though, for people who are like that or who are nervous about the editing piece of it, that might be an argument to go the live route.
Yeah.
Because there is no do-over.
Yeah. It forces you.
Oops.
Yeah.
And then you keep talking, right? Or
We've had plenty of oopses here.
and orient yourself. And I'll say, like, there are some things that I've done, and I was like, I want to make this like special videos, but then I get hung up on like, oh man, he's gonna do all this stuff. So I just go 1 or 2 times. I've just been like, I'm just gonna go live in our Facebook group, random time of day. I have no idea if anyone will watch, but you know, like people do, and like they'll all have conversation, and that's, you know, you get also that feedback, right? But you don't have this extra, it has to be perfect when it's live. And when people know, so then I could still take that video and I could put it on YouTube or wherever, because I can download it since I'm an owner of the group. And then it's communicated that this is a recording of a live thing. So there's, I think, much less expectation from the viewer that it's going to be really perfect. So I feel like maybe if people are just getting started and they're afraid of all the editing, or it's going to have to be perfect or flashy or whatever, like maybe if you're going from no videos to videos, try doing the live thing, because there is less pressure there.
Well, this is a good segue into our last segment, best advice. And Kevin, you're up first. What is your best advice to product owners who are just getting out? They have maybe tried and failed at 3 videos already, like I did, and they need to make something happen. They need to put something on their .org page or something. What's your best advice to them?
Yeah. So other than thinking about process video versus product video. I'll piggyback on what was just said. It's literally turning on the camera and doing it. And if you make a mistake here and there, it's okay. It actually adds trust and transparency. When if anybody's thinking in their mind, I have to make perfect videos to market this product. People actually have less trust for perfection. If it's like super polished, super chopped up, like you can tell it was like heavily edited, it's like, can I even see myself following this? I don't know, because I don't know all that stuff that was cut out. I don't know the problems that were run into. And then when they try to repeat it, they run into actual problems, and those problems are never solved in the video because all that stuff was imperfection that was cut out or whatever. And so, yeah, if you make an imperfect, organic style video and you just tell people up front, like, hey, there might be a mistake here and there, right? This is real life. This is how our work goes. Then you add the level of trust, you add a level of transparency, and it actually lands better than like a hyper perfect polished video, in my opinion.
Love it. Just do it. Basically.
Just do it. Just do it.
Amber, what about you?
Yeah, so I think my advice is going to be, well, I have two things. So first of all, circling back to the beginning where we were talking about really thinking deeply about like the pain points of your customers, and using that to try and map out like the whys or the hows of your product, not the what, right? Like don't just do what and showing it. And then of course, I can't talk about video and product videos without mentioning accessibility. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see product owners doing is they create a video with no sound or music only, where they are clicking their mouse around, doing things on a website.
Yes. Yep.
And anyone who is visually impaired or people who are just like multitasking, they need sound. They need you describing what you are doing and why you are doing it. I frequently will put videos on my other monitor, or there's times where, like last night, I finally caught State of the Word and I didn't watch it. It was playing off my phone, but I was listening to it on my earbuds while I was putting my kids' laundry away. Right? Like, so you really need people, you need to describe what is happening and don't just like show it visually.
Yeah, nice one. For sure. I actually want to give a small shout out. I have a very long video with me and Leslie Sim giving Amber a bunch of unfiltered advice on Equalized Digital and accessibility checker, including, I think we did talk about your product video a little bit too, I think, or a need for a product video, I think it was, if I remember at the time.
Well, I think it was a different product video than what we currently have, which is, our current one is better, but definitely needs some improvements.
Nice. Cool. My best advice. I don't know if it's best. I don't know if it's even advice. But truthfully, I would say find somebody who can help you. That's my best advice. It's like I feel like I struggled so much. If I had somebody who knew what they were doing and could just be like, hey, we're just going to do this process. It's not going to be perfect, but we're going to get it done. It would have like saved so much heartache and so much like hair pulling. Find somebody who knows what they're doing, and try to listen to the stuff that Kevin's been telling us today. Make sure that the customer is the hero of the story, not your product. Walk them along from A to B and how the product is beneficial to them and how it's going to get them where they want to go. And hopefully you'll get to the result that you're looking for with less hair pulling than I had and a lot more effectiveness than some of our less effective videos too.
I think on that same note, you don't have to hire a full-time person. There are some YouTubers out there who make WordPress product videos every day, and you can pay them to make. We just did this. We just had Corey Ashton make some video, some videos for us, and it's great because she knows what works on YouTube. she knows what people who care about, you know, WordPress products. And so like we had conversations and I'm saying, here's what I think. And then she's like, well, let me tell you, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
I think like that advice on hiring someone or getting someone to help, it doesn't, even if you have a small, you know, it's just you're a solopreneur, and you can't
Contract
hire a
someone.
full-time marketing person,
Totally.
right? You can still find somebody just to do one video for you, even if that's a place to start.
Absolutely. Yep. Good stuff. Nice. Well, this has been great, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So for everybody watching us, thank you for tuning in. Please be sure to follow us online. And Kevin, can you let us know where people can get a hold of you if they want to follow up with you?
Yep, Geary.co. That's going to have kind of branches out to everything that I do.
Nice.
And that's Geary for people who cannot see it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Great. For our next show, we are going to be on, I'll be back with Katie, I think, and we're going to be talking about how to scale your WordPress product business with Thomas Fanchin.
Nice. And special thanks to Post Status always for being our green room. And if you're enjoying these shows, please do us a favor, do the whole like classical YouTube stuff. The like is helpful. The subscribe is helpful. We also have a website, wpproducttalk.com. Show up there. You can catch this later. Tell your friends. All those things are helpful for us. Add us to your newsletters. But most of all, everybody have a good week. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.